our winning project of the year for the green category is the Spelman College Center for Innovation and the Arts, which is in South Downtown Atlanta. And you can see our primary setup here. What we have is a runoff reduction system, which is on the left, and we have a cistern water reuse system, which is on the right. And you can see this was the engineer's initial layout that came in on the plans and how the job was bid. Once the job was awarded, this is really what the systems came out looking like. The detention, retention, runoff reduction system is in the upper left-hand corner. That was roughly 90 feet of 84-inch 14-gauge perforated aluminized pipe. And then you can see our cistern system on the bottom right-hand side. If you look back at the initial system, which is on the lower right, you can see that the engineer actually set this system up like a traditional underground detention with a manifold system, 90-degree elbows, banded joints, that type of thing. Southeast Culvert actually had to redesign that system so that we could meet the leakage requirements of a cistern, because cisterns by nature are meant to be watertight systems. So what we did was we eliminated the banding systems. We set the pipes up in 32-foot long tanks, and we connected those tanks with small diameter flange stubs. In between those flanges, we had a really tough rubber gasket in there to prevent any type of leakage. And those systems were 4 84-inch 14-gauge aluminized cistern tanks, 32 feet long. So this is kind of our system setup and the design basics. The City of Atlanta requires runoff reduction, which means that you have to retain the first 1 inch of runoff that hits the site. There are various methods to do that. You can put them into an infiltration system and infiltrate that water back into the soils on site. You can put them into a cistern and then reuse that water in whatever method you choose. So this site is actually a combination of both. The cisterns were designed and connected to the existing campus irrigation systems. So they were using those to water their plants and their grass that were in the green space that was above. And then once that cistern was actually full, that center manhole that you see there would fill up, and then the stormwater would overflow into our infiltration system, and then the rest of that stormwater would infiltrate back into the ground. So we had multiple issues on this site. Number one, traditional HBCUs have been underfunded for years and years. And over probably the last 6 years, they have received a massive influx of federal money. So they have been able to go in and really rebuild their facilities and look at their campuses and do things that they haven't been able to do for probably the last 40 years. Some of the specifics to this site is it's very, very urban. Spelman has been in the City of Atlanta for a very long time, and the city has actually built up around it. So we have very little space on this site, and this is actually just north of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, so we weren't actually able to put any drones into the air above these systems, obviously because of FAA issues. We had a lot of very old existing utilities that we had to work around. You can see in some of these pictures, they're actually installing these systems with trench boxes. Because it was so tight and we had to stay away from the facility. So really the reason that I chose this was because it really shows you the flexibility of what we can do with our products. We have a system that's actually infiltrating and meant to let water out of it. And then we have a system that is meant to hold the water indefinitely. for green infrastructure and things like that in very urban environments. And that is the end of our presentation for our Green Project of the Year.